Heartwarming revelation, my pilot's son discovered his long-lost mother was on his flight, not home. Jake leaned back in his pilot's seat, his heart racing as he performed the pre-flight checks. The Midwest sky was a brilliant blue, a perfect day for flying. He glanced over at his son, Alex, who was sitting anxiously in the passenger cabin. Just a few weeks away from graduation, Alex felt the weight of the world on his shoulders, a bittersweet mix of excitement and concern. Would his dad's promotion mean more time apart? The thought gnawed at both of them. As they took off, the familiar rhythm of the engines soothed Jake's nerves. Aviation was his passion, allowing him to escape for a while from the worries of single fatherhood. He had poured everything he had into raising Alex since his wife had left, and the thought of losing any more time with his son terrified him. As the flight progressed, he stole glances at the passengers, their diverse faces flickering through his mind like memories of his own family reunions, but then his heart stopped. There, among the passengers, was a woman who made his blood run cold. Lisa. The resemblance between her and Alex was striking. Chills raced down his spine. What were the chances? The moments felt charged, as if fate had woven their lives together on this very flight. The unease mounted. Who was she, and why did she look so familiar? Their paths crossed briefly, and Lisa shared a story that sent shivers down Jake's spine. She spoke of hearts broken and children lost, of sorrow that stretched over years. Her long-lost child, snatched away by cruel circumstances. At that moment, Alex watched from a distance, an invisible tether pulling him toward the stranger. The anguish in his chest swelled. Could this woman be the missing link to understanding the void he felt for so long? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The plane settled into a steady flight, yet tension hung like storm clouds in the cabin. Jake's mind raced. How could he reunite this heartbroken woman with her child? Meanwhile, Alex battled conflicting emotions: resentment for the mother he barely remembered and an inexplicable spark of connection with Lisa. Would this be reconciliation or further heartbreak? As Jake planned the family reunion, emotions flared. Alex's longing for a mother twisted into anger at being abandoned. The joyful gathering morphed into a battleground for broken hearts and unresolved questions. Would they fortify their family, or would old wounds resurface? Jake felt his dreams of promotion slip further away, like the clouds beneath their wings. The stakes were high, the ramification profound. Would this reunion heal or hurt? The very thought left him with a tightening chest and tear-filled eyes. With the emotional storm brewing, Alex hovered on the brink of discovery, a revelation that could either mend or tear apart their fragile bond. What secrets rested in the air like heavy fog? As they approached their family gathering, all hearts would soon face the ultimate question: can love triumph over loss when blood ties reveal unspeakable truths? The wheels touched down with a jolt, snapping Jake from his spiraling thoughts. The landing was smooth, but inside him, turbulence reigned. As he taxied the plane, he caught sight of Alex, his son's face, a storm of emotions: confusion, anger, and something deeper that Jake couldn't quite place. Once the plane was parked, Jake's mind was racing. He needed to facilitate this meeting between Alex and Lisa, but how? They both deserved honesty, clarity, and perhaps a chance to heal wounds that had festered for far too long. But what if they both ended up hurt again? The weight of the decision loomed over him as he unbuckled his seatbelt. "Dad," Alex began cautiously as they walked through the terminal. Jake turned to him, preparing for an onslaught of questions. "Who is she? Is she really my mother?" The question hung thick in the air, surrounding them with an uncomfortable intensity. Jake inhaled, gathering courage. "I think she is, son. But we need to talk before we meet her. I want you to be ready." "Ready?" Alex's voice was tight, bordering on incredulous. "How could I ever be ready for this? For her. Jake knew all too well the turmoil raging inside his son. He wanted to shield Alex from the pain, but the truth had its own way of seeping through the cracks. It's a lot to take in, I know. We'll go to a cafe. Sit down, and just talk. That way, we can figure this out together. As they moved toward a small coffee shop, the haunting echo of Lisa's words replayed in his mind. The woman was a stranger, yet she had somehow tugged at the very fibers of their lives. What had she endured? What kind of mother could abandon her child? And why did Alex feel drawn to her? The cafe bustled with life, a stark contrast to the sinking feeling that anchored them in this moment. As they sat down with steaming mugs of coffee and hot chocolate, Jake noticed Alex's fingers tapping nervously on the table. What if she doesn't want me? Alex blurted out, his voice barely above a whisper. That's not true, Jake reassured him, struggling to keep his own heart steady. She's looked for you, Alex. You were never forgotten. But what if she shows up and I don't know? It's just too much. Alex sighed, frustration flooding his words. What if it's not the fairy tale reunion everyone thinks it'll be? Jake placed a hand on Alex's shoulder, hoping his presence offered some solace. Whatever happens, we will face it together. I promise you that. Suddenly, a reflection across the room caught his eye. Lisa stood in the doorway, scanning the cafe. Heart pounding, Jake held his breath as their gazes met. Would she be the mother he had built in Alex's mind, the perfect image crafted from longing and absence? Alex's eyes widened, and Jake turned back to him. Are you ready to meet her? Silence enveloped them like a thick fog. It was a moment that could change everything. The question loomed: would their reunion lead to healing, or would it be the shattering of old wounds? But all Jake could think about was the look on Alex's face, the precarious balance of hope and fear. As the seconds dragged on, the air felt electric, charged with the untold stories yet to unfold. The moment Jessica stepped forward was both exhilarating and terrifying. Dad, what if it goes horribly wrong? Jake held his son's gaze, feeling the weight of the moment. Then we deal with it. Together. With one final deep breath, they stood, hearts racing. Would they find what they were searching for, or would this encounter open new wounds? As they approached Lisa, all three stood at the precipice of a truth that would define their lives. What would happen when their paths finally crossed? Would love mend the broken pieces, or would the shrouded past consume them all? The moment hung heavy, thick with expectation. As Jake and Alex stepped closer, he could see Lisa's face morph from uncertainty to a flicker of recognition. Her eyes widened like windows opening to a flood of memories, both bitter and sweet. Jake? She whispered, as if testing the air, uncertain that this was real. Lisa, he replied, his voice steady despite the storm swirling inside him. Alex stood frozen, caught in a whirlwind of confusion. Somewhere deep inside him, a voice urged him to step back, to flee from the memories he had created in her absence. But another part, the part he had tried to bury, yearned to know this woman who had given him life. Lisa's voice trembled, reaching out in a way that seemed to cradle both hope and fear. Do you really want to see me? Alex asked, his words laced with the disbelief that had layered itself over the years. I never stopped thinking about you, she said, her voice cracking. Tears pooled in her eyes. Every day, I wished I could have held you, watched you grow up. Then why did you leave? The question escaped Alex's lips with a sharpness that made even Jake wince. The intensity of it shocked them all into silence, like a sudden gust of wind cutting through a calm afternoon. Lisa took a shaky breath, her chest rising and falling with the weight of years. It was never my choice. I was scared. I thought I was doing the right thing at the time. Alex crossed his arms, his expression a mix of anger and hurt. Why now? Why are you here? Each word dripped with accusation, an emotional arrow aimed straight at the heart of the woman who had become a distant ghost. Because I've spent years trying to find you. I was afraid, but I need you to know you were never forgotten, Alex. Jake felt the tremor in her voice, the unmistakable undercurrent of lost years and shattered dreams. He wanted to interject, to soothe his son, to remind him that this moment, painful as it was, could be the beginning of something else. But he held back, not wanting to overshadow the fragile exchange unfolding. "I don't know if I can trust you," Alex finally said, his throat tight as if the words were stuck there. Jake's heart ached at the pain in his son's voice. "I don't expect you to," Lisa replied, her sadness weaving through every syllable. "But I want to earn your trust. It's been a long journey for me, too." "Earn it?" Alex echoed, frustration bubbling again. "You think you can just show up and I didn't come to hurt you," she interrupted softly. "I came because I want to try to make things right, if you'll let me." The cafe around them had faded, the bustling patrons merely a distant hum. All that mattered now was the three of them and the unraveling truth, a truth they had kept silent for too long. Jake could feel the weight of expectations crackling in the air. He stepped forward, placing a firm hand on Alex's shoulder, grounding him. "This is a lot to process," he said. "Let us just breathe for a moment." Alex's gaze flickered from Jake to Lisa, uncertainty etched on his face. "I don't know if I want this," he admitted, his voice trembling. What if you give it a chance?" Jake suggested gently. "What if this could be something good?" Alex lowered his head, caught in the silence of the moment, wrestling with emotions too big for words. Lisa stood there, vulnerable and unsure, a mother reaching for the son she knew only through photographs and dreams. "Maybe," Alex said softly, the hint of hope weaving its way through the walls he had built. Jake's heart raced as he realized they were on the edge of an unpredictable journey. Would this fragile connection blossom into something beautiful, or would it thrust them deeper into the shadows of the past? As they stood there, the weight of the moment pressing down on them, a question echoed in Jake's mind: was this the start of healing, or the beginning of a deeper heartache? And maybe, just maybe, they could find a way to navigate through. But the real challenge awaited. The past was not done with them yet. What would come next, as secrets began to rise to the surface? Alex stood at the precipice of his emotions, teetering between resentment and a flicker of curiosity. Lisa's presence enveloped him, a mix of warmth and unease. The cafe had almost cleared, tables pushed aside as if the whole world had vanished. Only the three of them remained, suspended in a moment that felt both unreal and painfully true. "Do you ever think about me?" he asked suddenly, his voice barely above a whisper. The words hung in the air, heavy with desire for connection. "Every single day," she replied, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. "I imagined milestones: your first day of school, your graduations, everything I missed tore at me." "That's easy to say," he shot back, anger fueling his words. "But you weren't there to witness any of it." Lisa flinched, her expression crumpling under the weight of his hurt. "I know I can't change the past, Alex. But I'm here now. I want to understand you, the man you've become." His heart raced. He had been raised with stories of who she was, a mother who loved him enough to let him go. But staring into her eyes now revealed layers of pain and regret he had never fathomed. "What if I don't want to be understood?" he challenged, his voice thick with emotion. "What if I'd rather just forget?" "Then I'll respect that," she said, her voice steady despite the tears that glistened on her cheeks. "But I hope, in time, you'll want to know me." Alex turned away, looking out at a fading sunset beyond the cafe windows. He felt Jake's hand still resting on his shoulder, a steady presence, anchoring him amidst the storm. "Son, it's okay to be angry," Jake said softly. "It's okay to feel lost. But maybe this is a chance to explore. You don't have to decide everything right now." "Right now?" The words echoed in Alex's mind. He hadn't thought about tomorrow or next week. All he could process was this moment, this fragile reconnection filled with memories he wished were real. I don't even know who you are," he admitted, his voice breaking. "I'm Lisa," she said simply, her gaze unwavering. "I'm your mother, and I want to show you that I can be more than just a ghost from your past." Just then, a man at the next table interrupted the silence, raising his cup in a toast, a hint of warmth in his eyes. "Hey, don't forget the best connections are often built from the most broken places. Don't let fear stop you from exploring." The words struck home for Alex. It was as if the world outside had aligned, urging him just as much as the two women in front of him. What's the worst that could happen? Jake chimed in, trying to ease the tension. A silence stretched out, thick with possibility. Alex felt a tether pulling at him, one that began to unravel the walls he had built over the years. What if there was courage in trying to bridge this gap? Okay, he said at last, but with a deep breath, he continued shakily, maybe I'll give it a chance. Just a chance. Lisa's face lit up, her gratitude spilling out in a radiant smile that momentarily overshadowed the sadness. Thank you, Alex, but the air seemed to shift as the reality of the unknown swept through them again. There was still so much to uncover, the questions he hadn't even begun to ask, the hidden truths that loomed like shadows ready to consume them. Wait, Alex suddenly barked, the doubt rising anew. What happens if I start trusting you, only for you to disappear again? Her eyes widened, and for a moment, everything hung in the balance. You have to promise me you'll never push me away again, she whispered, a pact forming in the space between them. As they locked eyes, Jake felt a deep-rooted sense of uncertainty. The past may have lingered, but the truth remained in front of them, a revelation waiting to unfold, and in that charged moment, it became clear, fate was tugging at the strands of their lives. What would the next chapter bring when the secrets began to peel away, and the reality of Lisa's absence started to reveal itself? The atmosphere in the cafe felt more electric than before. Alex could sense the weight of his decision hanging in the air. Giving Lisa a chance felt monumental, but it also felt terrifying. She had become this figure, a woman who held the key to pieces of his past that he barely knew existed. Promise you won't disappear, he echoed, searching her gaze for a hint of sincerity. I promise, Lisa said, her eyes shimmering with hope. I'm here for you now, Alex. I won't run away again. He wanted to believe her, he really did. But the fear was a clawing thought, lurking just below the surface. Could he let her in? Could he risk opening his heart only to find it shuttered again? Jake cleared his throat, sensing the emotional tension. What's next, then? How do we start this, journey? Alex looked at Lisa again, her smile warm, but uncertainty lingered in her eyes. She was just as scared as he was, he realized. This was new territory for both of them. I guess we start with stories? Lisa suggested tentatively. Tell me about yourself. What do you like? He hesitated, thoughts swirling. But there was something about the way she asked, as if every word mattered. I like cars, he finally admitted. There's something about old muscle cars that resonates with me. The way they rumble, the power of it. I remember your grandfather had a classic Mustang. He spent hours working on it. Your father wasn't too thrilled, but he loved that car, Lisa shared, her smile revealing a glimpse of warmth deep-rooted in memory. That's surprising, actually, Alex said, his curiosity piqued. I didn't know that. See? We can connect over things you never even knew, she replied, her excitement palpable. With every story, Alex felt more at ease. They shared laughter about his childhood, and every exchanged memory was like a building block slowly bridging the chasm between them. Lisa seemed genuinely interested in who he had become. But amid the joy, something gnawed at him. What had to happen for you to leave, though? He asked, cringing slightly at the bluntness of his words. Her smile faltered as shadows crossed her face. That's a heavy story, one I never wanted to tell. I made decisions that I thought would protect you. Sometimes, love means making the hardest choices. Protect me or protect yourself? The silence that followed was thick. Lisa's expression darkened, a storm of emotions playing across her face. Alex's heart sank. Had he pushed too far? I chose to protect myself from the consequences of what happened. That's the truth. Her voice trembled, and she looked away, clearly hurt. Jake intervened, sensing the tension rising like a tide. Maybe we can save those questions for a little later? This is all still fresh. Alex nodded, though the unsettling feeling of remnants from the past filtered through the air. He wanted to understand, but part of him dreaded what lay beneath the surface. Just then, the cafe door swung open. A gust of wind brought the smell of fresh rain. It felt cleansing somehow, opening the world outside again. "Let us finish up here," Jake said, standing. "How about a walk? Fresh air might help clear the atmosphere." The suggestion felt good. They needed to breathe beyond this moment, beyond the weight of words unspoken. As they stepped outside, Alex immersed himself in vivid flashes of rain-soaked streets. Each step felt heavier yet lighter all at once, weighing him down with uncertainty but also lifting him up with possibility. "Where do we go from here?" Alex asked, a whispered question slipping from his lips, and as they walked on, he couldn't shake the feeling that the real journey, one that could reshape their lives, had barely just begun. What if the answers to his deepest questions awaited them ahead? Would the truth be worth the risk? The rain fell softly, pattering against the pavement, its rhythm blending with the distant hum of the city. Alex felt the cool droplets brush against his skin, grounding him in the reality of the moment. There was something about the cleansing nature of rain that brought a flicker of hope. Maybe this walk would lead him to some clarity. Jake walked ahead, glancing back to ensure both Alex and Lisa were keeping pace. The city lights began to fizz in the distance, glowing through the gray veil of rain, providing an eerie beauty that seemed to reflect the complex feelings swirling within Alex. He stole a glance at Lisa, her brows slightly furrowed, as if she were weighing her thoughts carefully. "Do you want to talk about anything else?" she asked, her voice gentle but laced with concern. "Not really," Alex replied, "not yet. Just let us keep walking." They moved along the street, the atmosphere shifting slowly as the rich aroma of nearby food trucks filled the air. They stopped near one selling steaming tacos, where Jake ordered a couple, handing them both a warm dish. "This distraction might help, huh?" he said, trying to lighten the mood. The savory scent wafted toward them, momentarily lifting the heaviness that had settled between Alex and Lisa. Alex took a bite, savoring the flavors. The spice danced on his tongue, pulling him back to memories of family gatherings where food had always fermented connections. It was comforting, yet bittersweet. "Feels good to be back, like things could be normal again," he said, more to himself than to them. "Normal can feel different for everyone," Lisa remarked quietly. "But it doesn't have to mean hiding from what happened." The statement hung in the air, an invitation dangling just out of reach. He swallowed hard, wrestling with the urge to dive deeper into the conversation. The last thing he wanted was to spiral back into that darkness. "Let us focus on the now. What do you want to do next?" he suggested, turning the topic on its head. Lisa paused, looking thoughtful. "How about we visit your grandfather's old garage? That place should have some stories left in it." "His garage?" A flicker of surprise crossed Alex's face. Memories of summers spent tinkering with tools and paint splatters flashed in his mind. "I haven't been there since he passed." "I know it might be tough," she said softly, "but it could also be a way to connect the past with the present. Maybe it can help us figure out where we stand." Regret twisted in Alex's chest at the thought of the dilapidated space. I don't know if I'm ready for that." "It's your choice. But remember, every story deserves to be told, whether it's joyous or painful," Lisa said, her eyes steady on him. Jake had moved a few steps away, engrossed in texting someone. "I'll never forget the sound of the engine revving when he would take me for a ride," Alex admitted, a smile breaking through. The way the gears shifted felt like music. "See?" Lisa encouraged, her smile returning. "Even the hard memories can lead to joy." Their eyes met, and for a brief moment, the world around them faded. Alex could feel his heart racing, grappling with the possibility that maybe opening up wouldn't lead him back into despair. Maybe it could lead him toward healing. With a deep breath, he nodded. "Okay, let us go. Let us see what the old place holds." As they turned to walk deeper into the heart of the city, a fresh determination ignited within him. But just then, his phone buzzed sharply in his pocket. He pulled it out, looking down at an unknown number flashing across the screen. His heartbeat quickened again, anxiety creeping back in. Was this an old friend? Or possibly a ghost from the past? What would it reveal? He hesitated, staring at the screen, as a world of potential lay before him, both thrilling and terrifying. The buzz of Alex's phone felt like a jolt of electricity running through his body. His fingers trembled slightly as he weighed his options. Should he answer? Every instinct told him to hesitate, to push the memory of past ideas away, but curiosity clawed at him like a hungry wolf. Who is it? Lisa asked softly, leaning in closer to catch a glimpse of the screen. Her concern was evident, and it reminded Alex of their shared intent. They were moving forward, one step at a time. I don't know, he finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. It could be about him. Maybe it's worth finding out, Jake chimed in, rejoining them just then. He glanced at the phone, sensing the weight of the moment. You can always hang up if it's too much. Alex held his breath, a storm of emotions swirling inside him: fear, hope, a desperate longing for connection. In that moment, he felt as though the entire city had paused, waiting with him for his next move. Without another thought, he tapped the screen to accept the call. Hello? His voice cracked, but he forced it to remain steady. A pause on the other end felt like an eternity, and Alex could hear his own heartbeat thumping wildly in his ears. Then a voice broke through, smooth yet weighted with years of silence. Alex? It's me. He froze, the recognition hitting him like a cold wave. It was her. The woman who had vanished from his life long ago, leaving behind nothing but questions and a hollow ache. Mom? He stammered, disbelief clogging his throat. Is it really you? The second strained syllable nearly came out as a plea. Yes, she replied softly. Her tone held regret and warmth, a mixture he couldn't decipher. I know this is unexpected. But I needed to talk to you after all this time. Around him, the world faded into a blur. Jake and Lisa's concerned faces melted away as Alex was drawn deeper into the conversation, where answers danced just out of reach. What do you want? He found himself challenging her, though his voice quaked slightly, emotions warring inside him. I want to explain, she began, but the words faltered, collapsing under the weight of years gone by. I never meant to leave like that. There were things I thought were best for you, for us. A flood of memories surged through Alex, each one a reminder of the absence he had grown up with. The birthday parties she missed, the quiet nights when he wished for her presence, the questions that lingered unanswered through his teenage years. Do you know what it's been like? He demanded, anger mingling with hurt. I do, she admitted, her voice thickening. More than you know. I've thought of you every day since I left. Then why now? Why show up after abandoning me? He fought back tears, feeling raw and exposed. I never stopped loving you, Alex. I've been trying to right the wrongs. Her voice trembled, and Alex felt a flicker of something, hope or bitterness. He couldn't tell. They stood in silence, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. The drizzle had intensified, but he barely noticed. Where are you? Alex asked, the urgency weighing heavy in his heart. I'm in town. I want to see you. Can we meet? She pleaded, the desperation in her tone a stark reminder of the years spent apart. That he glanced at Lisa and Jake, both holding their breath, their concern palpable. The pull of the past wrestled with the yearning for connection, the chance to reshape unfinished stories. I need time, he finally said, his voice breaking. I don't even know what I feel right now. Take all the time you need, she replied softly. But know that I'm here. I want to explain everything. Alex ended the call, staring blankly at the screen. The rain battered the pavement around him, but within, a storm was brewing. He could feel Lisa's hand on his shoulder, a quiet reassurance. How do you feel? She asked, her voice inviting him to share but not demanding. Lost and terrified, he admitted, his breath shaky. But what if she's not the same woman I remember? Maybe that's okay. People change, Jake added quietly, offering a perspective laced with hope. What lay ahead felt like an uncharted territory, daunting yet strangely promising. With a deep breath, Alex squared his shoulders. We should keep moving. I want to get to the garage. I have a lot to think about. As they walked on, every step felt heavier yet filled with purpose. The thought of reopening old wounds gnawed at him. But in that heaviness, there was also a stirring of potential. A story waiting to unfold. Would a new connection with his mother bring him closer to understanding his own roots, or would it push him further into the abyss he feared? With the city alive around them, the question echoed in his mind, relentless yet exhilarating. What if the truth brought both healing and pain? The streets glistened under the rain as Alex led the way, his mind still in turmoil. Each step felt like a swing of fate's pendulum, back and forth between longing and doubt. The garage loomed ahead, a haven filled with tools and projects, yet it felt suffocating in this moment. The scent of damp pavement mixed with oil stirred memories of simpler times. What's next? Lisa's voice pulled him back, soft yet decisive, cutting through the haze that he paused, glancing back at her and Jake, their expressions a mix of worry and support. I don't know, he admitted, rubbing a hand along the back of his neck as if trying to physically massage away the uncertainty. Part of me is screaming for answers, but another part is terrified of what those answers could mean. Lisa took a step closer, her eyes earnest. You have every right to feel that way. But remember, you're not alone in this. We've got your back, whatever you decide. Yeah, Jake chimed in, shoving his hands into his pockets. Maybe meeting her isn't about what she did or didn't do, maybe it's about you understanding what you need moving forward. The thought resonated deep within him. For years, he had defined his life by the absence of a mother's love, but perhaps returning to that absence could finally help him reclaim parts of himself that he didn't even realize were missing. What if she's not who I remember? What if she's changed, or worse, what if I have? The words spilled out, a torrent of fear and vulnerability. There's only one way to find out, Lisa replied, her voice steady. You can't keep running from it, Alex. You need to confront your past so you can embrace your future. And what if I meet her and it all falls apart? He countered, frustration brewing within him. Then you'll know. You'll have clarity, Jake offered, his expression sympathetic. We've got time, Lisa added, sliding her hand into his and squeezing reassuringly. Just take it one step at a time. With a deep breath, Alex stepped into the garage. The familiar chaos of tools, half-finished projects, and remnants of his past swirled around him. It was a sanctuary, yet it felt different, more charged than usual. Thoughts ricocheted in his mind, and the idea of facing his mother loomed larger than the shadows cast by the dim light overhead. I could work on that old bike, Alex said suddenly, pointing toward a rusted frame tucked in the corner, trying to distract himself. I've been meaning to fix it before summer. Yeah. That could be therapeutic, Jake encouraged, looking genuinely excited. Let us get it rolling again. As they rummaged through boxes and drawers, uncovering forgotten tools and memories, laughter mingled with urgency. The weight on Alex's heart remained, but amid the banter, glimmers of hope started to shine through. Maybe he could channel his confusion into something productive. After some time, Lisa held up a wrench and waved it like a trophy. Found it. Ready for action? He chuckled, a genuinely light moment piercing through the heavy fog that surrounded his thoughts. Maybe not so much action as slow and steady. Exactly. That's how life works, right? Jake said with a grin. No need to rush it. Yet as they continued to fix and joke, the phone buzzing in Alex's pocket echoed in his ears, a reminder of the unresolved. The anticipation loomed. Would he even answer if her name appeared again? Had he truly begun to accept the possibility of meeting her? Just then, a loud clang echoed from the garage door as someone knocked. A wave of anxiety rushed through Alex, spiraling his heart into a frenzy. Who could that be? Lisa asked, slightly puzzled. I don't know, but whoever it is, I don't think I can handle one more surprise today, he muttered, bracing himself. As he moved toward the door, the air thickened with tension, and the question hung heavily in the air. Was the knock a sign of something new, or was it merely another reminder of the past refusing to let him go? Alex hesitated, his hand finally resting on the cold steel of the doorknob. The anxiety knotted in his stomach intensified. Could this be someone related to all of it, the questions, the fears? Or was it just a neighbor stopping by, oblivious to the storm brewing inside him? Taking a deep breath, he turned the knob and pulled the door open. His heart dropped. A woman stood there, her hair cascading around her shoulders, soaked from the rain. Her eyes were wide, brimming with a mix of hope and apprehension. The moment was surreal. It was as if time had folded in on itself, bringing memories he wasn't ready to confront. "Alex," she breathed, a tremor in her voice. Each syllable echoed like a bell ringing through him, reverberating with emotions he had long buried. Who are you?" he stammered, suddenly feeling trapped in a moment that spiraled towards inevitability. Behind him, he could sense Lisa and Jake shifting, their own confusion palpable. I'm your mother," she said softly. The world spun around him. Her face was both familiar and foreign, distant yet close, enough to stir something deep within him that clawed to the surface. "What do you want?" The question sliced through the air with the sharp edge of distrust. "I want to talk," she whispered, her gaze steady but vulnerable, like a wounded animal seeking comfort but ready to flee if necessary. "I know it's been too long." "I'm so sorry." Alex shook his head, dismissing her words. "Sorry isn't enough. You've missed years, my whole life." Anger bubbled up within him, making his voice tremble. He could feel Jake tense behind him, sensing the tension thickening the space between them. Lisa stepped closer, her hand resting gently on his arm, a silent anchor in the storm. "I know. If I could go back, I would. But I can't change the past. I can only explain and hope you'll understand," she urged. "Understand what?" He shot back, his heart racing. "How you just disappeared. How you left me to grow up without you." "I didn't choose to leave you," she exclaimed, her voice cracking. "I was young and scared, and the choices I made, they haunt me every day. I never stopped thinking about you. Please, just let me tell you what happened." For a moment, he stood frozen, the fire of anger colliding with a flickering spark of curiosity. Could this be the chapter of his life he had longed to access? Or was it the unleashing of a pain he wasn't ready to bear? "Alex, we can help you process this," Lisa whispered, her steady presence grounding him. "You deserve answers, but they have to come from you." He turned back to her, conflicting feelings swirling inside. What if her answers only complicate things more? The woman's eyes softened, understanding the turmoil written on his face. "I want to share my story, not to justify my past but to offer you the truth, whatever it may reveal." Taking a breath, Alex stepped back, inviting her in. The moment felt monumental, each element charged with unspoken challenges. The room was filled with a silence that echoed the weight of common histories and looming uncertainties. "Fine," he breathed, almost reluctantly. "But make it count." As they settled into the garage, surrounded by fading memories and remnants of a childhood spent waiting, he braced himself. Would this sort of confrontation shed light on the shadows that had loomed over his life, or would it only deepen the scars? "Let us see if the truth can heal us," he murmured under his breath, the words both hopeful and dread-filled. But as the door swung shut behind her, one question lingered painfully: was he truly ready to confront the woman who had left him behind, and more importantly, could he come to terms with what that would mean for him moving forward? As the door clicked shut behind Lisa, the air became dense with anticipation. Alex felt like he was standing on the edge of a cliff, ready to leap into a sea of truth that could either cleanse him or drag him under. The memories and emotions whirled chaotically inside him, each one battling for dominance. "Tell me everything," he managed to say, his voice stronger than he felt. He wanted answers, needed them to untangle the years of hurt and confusion. Lisa took a deep breath, her eyes bright but shadowed with regret. "I never stopped thinking about you, Alex. After everything happened, I thought I was protecting you. I was scared, alone, and I made choices that haunt me daily. I didn't mean to abandon you." Each word felt like a pebble thrown into the deep ocean of his heart, sending ripples of pain. "Protecting me? You call leaving me protecting, Alex?" Jake interjected, his voice calm but firm. Let her speak. This is your chance to understand her side. With a flicker of realization, Alex acknowledged that every story has layers, every person a history. He focused on Lisa, who was nervously rubbing her hands together, almost pleading with him. The truth is, after you were born, I had to deal with things I wasn't prepared for. Your father and our lives fell apart. There were threats, situations I tried to escape. I didn't think I had any choice. Choose to leave your child? Alex snapped, the hurt resurfacing. You made a choice every day to be absent, to let me grow up believing I was unloved. I know, she whispered, tears shimmering in her eyes. And it kills me every day. The moment I walked away, I lost something too. You were everything. I thought I was ensuring you had a better life. Which turned out to be a lie, he shot back sharply. There was an intensity to the moment, an electric push and pull between them, each of them navigating through pain while yearning for understanding. But I was wrong. I thought I could come back years later, make everything right, but time slipped away and I was left with regret. Lisa's voice cracked as the weight of her sorrow hung like fog in the room. Emotions wrestled within Alex: anger, disbelief, a burgeoning sense of compassion. The walls he had built began to falter, the possibility of reconciliation just slightly shining through the cracks. How do I know this isn't just another empty promise? How do I know you want to leave again? I can't ask you to trust me overnight. But I am here, and I promise I will fight for you this time, she said, her voice steady yet trembling. He could see the sincerity in her eyes that held both love and pain, eyes that were a mirror of his own. What do you even know about me? You don't know who I am. You left me. I want to know everything. Tell me about your life, your dreams. The man you've become, I want to be a part of it, she implored, her fingers trembling as they reached out toward him. Please, allow me to learn about you. Don't be afraid to share. The challenge of opening up felt monumental, like standing naked on a busy street. But he remembered the warmth of family dinners, the laughter as they worked on his grandfather's car, and realized just how much he missed that connection. Okay, Alex said finally, his voice barely rising above a whisper. I'll tell you. Just please, no more lies. His heart thudded as he began to recount stories about high school, friends, his passion for cars, and the loneliness he felt growing up. Each story drew out laughter, then turned raw and heavy. With every sentence, the air lightened, the once heavy burden started to shift. Lisa listened intently, tears spilling quietly down her face, each drop a testament to the love she felt for him wrapped in complicated layers of sorrow and regret. As Alex spoke, he caught a glimpse of the woman he had longed for, the mother he had built in his mind from pieces of memory and myth. Maybe there was a way to navigate through this complicated maze. Hours passed as they opened that door to shared histories, each confession weaving them closer together. Outside, the rain began to lighten, and the rhythmic patter was a calming backdrop to their reconnection. Finally, when the stories that had kept them apart began to weave into something that felt almost like healing, Lisa reached out and squeezed his hand. Thank you for sharing yourself with me, Alex. In that moment, he realized that this was more than just a conversation. It was the first step in building a bridge from the past to a hopeful future. Can we be a family, somehow? He asked, vulnerability spilling over as he looked into her eyes. The infinite love he had yearned for began to stir just beneath the surface. Yes, she said softly, her voice cracking. I want that too. Trust will take time, I know, but start wherever you can, and I'll be here for every step. As they stood amidst the shadows of the garage, Alex felt the swell of something new, a flicker of hope and connection. Maybe they could navigate the healing together, one story at a time. The past would still linger, but now, standing in front of his mother, Alex realized he could finally forge his own path into the future, together, as a family. And as for the lingering uncertainties, they could find their way, one moment, one truth at a time. If not now, when? He took a deep breath, and for the first time in years, felt lighter. It was a start, wasn't that enough? As the evening darkened softly outside, the weight of possibility hung in the air, hinting at the journey ahead, one filled with vulnerability, forgiveness, and a budding semblance of hope. ready to blossom under the weight of their shared experiences. You need to subscribe now to catch the next chapter of this transformative journey. This is the moment to show your support for stories that bring healing to our lives. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, it makes all the difference. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share.